Right, got my timer. Hello, I'm Christina Singer. I'm an assistant professor of graphic design at UNC Charlotte, and I'll go ahead and begin with my presentation. Oops. All right, so there's my abstract over there on the left. These are a few images from each semester. We have been doing this project that I'm going to discuss today, really inspired by the People's Graphic Design Archive, and where the students go out and find things. They research objects, local objects. So far, we've maintained it local to Charlotte, and they really seem to enjoy it. So I'll get into what that's about. So I usually launch the semester on the left here, a little story about Charlotte's uptown past, the redevelopment projects in the 1960s, pushing out a lot of people and civil rights movement going on. And, a lot of students that I have are from the Charlotte area and really unaware of that. So it has been an inspiring kickoff, to just begin to think about Charlotte beyond what it is today. On the right, we have topics where students ideate what they might want to explore, and I hand that off to the special collections librarian before our field trip over across campus. And as well as I show them how to search the Wayback Machine to find old websites and graphics and other databases where they can find old newspapers and things that we have access to. So those field trips occur, and thanks to Randy Beam back there for always leading those and teaching the students how to handle documents and even about the bias of curating and things like that. There are things in there because somebody chose them, and we don't always think about that, why those objects got chosen. So she's great about laying that out. So each semester, the students create a timeline together. Over time, they've made a more cohesive kind of visual system on their own, just highlighting a few of those as we go zoomed in. So this was spring 2023. In fall 2023, the most recent version, and the final version that I'll be doing of this exact project. I get bored after a while. Okay, so the People's Graphic Design Archive. Here are some of our students' works that they've contributed. I think it's 186 from 62 students over the last 5 semesters. And so maybe not all of them are on here, but most of them are. I'm not going to let that keep running, but you can check those out. And then we have the class books, right? So our students have to review each other's writing. I designed the template like just real quick and handed it off to them with some styles, and it's more about the writing here. So there are other design projects in this class. This is a 5-week class in a senior level graphic design class. So it's really in this case focused on the research. They have to do in-text citations and find different sources to back the history and context of each artifact. We talk about things like semiotics, like what are you going to talk about? So it's not just a visual analysis, but a historical, kind of research paper per artifact. So they're small, they're not huge papers, but every semester the projects grow and students have to study what their predecessors have done. And so they really learn a lot more as the semesters have gone on. So I'm going to keep an element of this as I go forward with the project. I think I'll be expanding it, and I'll get to that in a minute about what that might look like. Move on to the next one. So here's those stats again, just in terms of like what I've been working with the students. And this is what I've really been doing to analyze what they've been creating or choosing to include in their books. And so you can use this QR code to look at this more closely. I do have this brief summary that I've made just to know, what are they choosing, just the numbers, and then I'll get to kind of like the why, what interests them in a moment. But, the 124 out of the 186 have come from the 1950 to 1999 timeframe that I was isolating. And there's quite a few categories that students have experimented with looking up objects, mostly in the advertising and publication era. I guess like that's historically, what was being made in the beginning of graphic design. But I think more and more students are starting to look into digital. And so I have this kind of key I made here in the different semesters students have worked on the projects. So I mean, like if you were doing a project like this, a lot of people are using the archive. So I think like however you're analyzing this may or may not be a way, but I just think it'd be so cool to be able to like have a place where I can see like this, but in other cities around the world, like, we have that on the archive, but like here, just kind of like all at once, even where you can just zoom in and zoom out and see like kind of by time and by medium and things like that. So I have found it really interesting to see, and it's also good to look at and be able to identify what areas we could grow more in our research. Like we don't have much from interactive, or we don't have much from murals or something more environmental. So just sorry to make you seasick. I'm going to go ahead and pass on the rest of that for now. There's a lot to look at, and I hope you'll be able to pause this and look at it another time. But considerations moving forward, I do want to be able to give my students more agency over the book layout and designs. They are advanced design students after all. And possible deliverables instead of a book. I want to explore video, interactive, podcast, posters, zines over time. Host a writing workshop earlier in the semester, sometimes more necessary than others. Broaden the theme beyond finding local artifacts. So really examine international artifacts as well. I want to incentivize students to conduct interviews so we can have oral histories included in this in some way, maybe through the podcasting. And I haven't shared this visualization with my students yet, and we're about to embark on the newest iteration of this project. And I think it'd be really cool to share with them, like, what students haven't found yet. And then also come up with other ideas of where they're looking and analyze those places. So thank you. My time, I heard, is up on my alarm about. So just a reminder, let's keep in touch. Let's share, what we're doing. There's a great resources page on the PGDA site, and one of our books is actually up on the site. It's kind of meta. So like if you search Charlotte or CLT graphic design history, volume 3, you'll see it. So anyways, thank you for your time. Can't wait to hear everybody else.